But I had some surprising news earlier in this week. On Monday, they started filming Avatar 2. And this film was 2009, James Cameron, the Na'vi, Pandora, Unobtainium, and I am so excited that they're actually making a sequel. Like I said, 2009 was a long time ago, and they've been working on these films ever since the first one came out. It was originally going to be 3 sequels for 4 movies, and now they're going 4 movies for 5 movies. 2 is going to film, and then 3 is going to film, and then they're going to do the post-production on 2 and 3, and then they're going to film 3 and 4, 4 and 5, and oh my gosh, I have never been more excited for a movie than Avatar besides Ant-Man, and having these movies gonna finally in production, gonna be released in December of 2020, December of 2021. Then we gotta wait 3 years, and it's gonna be December of 2024, and then December of 2025. The only problems with this December release date is the past few years you had Star Wars claim this territory, where they had The Force Awakens and Rogue One, and this year is going to be Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And although they don't have another Star Wars film on the books, you know, there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff in production. They said they're going to do Star Wars for at least 10 years when they started in 2015, so Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. I love the first Avatar, and the first Avatar is the highest grossing film of all time worldwide. It made $2.7 billion. And Star Wars Force Awakens made more domestically. It made almost $1 billion domestically, but it made a little bit over $2 billion worldwide. It's not $2.7 billion, and that's because the Chinese markets did not show up for Star Wars. It underperformed in China. It underperformed in South Korea. China and South Korea, they loved Avatar. In the first Avatar, I went to 4 times. I only went to 1 movie more than that, and I saw Ant-Man 7 times in the theaters. So if this movie is as good as the first one, and if this movie is as visionary and revolutionary as the first one, people will show up to Avatar 2. And I know that a lot of people saw the first one, loved the first one, but time has not aged well. And they're like, it's too similar to a lot of other movies. Pocahontas, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, Dances with Wolves. But it looks better. And there's only about 30 plots in cinema. One of my favorite film directors, Howard Hawks, who made Red River, he made His Girl Friday, he made so many films. He says there's only about 30 plots. And that might be true. And one of the plots is you got the Native American and the white man, but the Native American is actually an alien and the white man is actually the United States government, and they got to go and they got to become the whole Avatar plot, the Dance with Wolves plot. But the way you differentiate yourself from these plots is characters. And I love the characters of the first one. You got a Jake Sully, who's this injured war veteran. He's disabled. He can't walk anymore. His twin brother is training to be in the Avatar program. He's training to take over the body of one of these created human Na'vi hybrids. But because he dies on the planet of Pandora, and then you have his brother, that because he is a twin brother, he can hook up to his machine, his avatar. And that they're like, now we don't have to waste all these millions of dollars. This upsets Grace Augustine, who's the Sigourney Weaver. And she's like, I hired a scientist, not a mercenary. And then she's like, you can come along on these missions, but you are as my bodyguard, you are my protector, you cannot say a word, you can not touch anything, just go along for the ride and stay out of trouble. Well, over the course, they get separated, there's this big monster that comes, and the world of Pandora is amazing. You got all the colors, all the animal lives. There was a lot of work on all this special effects, and it shows. This movie was made for a little under $300 million, not marketing. This could have been a huge flop. This could have went down in history as John Carter, that had people replaced at studio heads, but it didn't because people showed up and people fell in love. The world of Avatar inspired theme parks. There's one at Disney World, and then they have Cirque du Soleil's about Avatar, and this became a phenomenon because it was so good, and I'm so happy to step back into the world of Pandora. But Grace Augustine doesn't want Jake Sully to come online, but during the course, he gets separated and has to survive in the wilderness, and everybody's saying that he's a dead man, there's no way he can survive, but he does, and he meets a Na'vi called Nefertiri, and that's Zoe Saldana's character. And she's one of these characters that we need. She's the Ripley of this. She's that strong, independent female role model that is underserved in the Hollywood. And she's like, oh no, this guy is going to destroy everything. She tries to kill him with a bow and arrow, but she sees the sign as this flower, which a sacred flower, drops on her arrow before she shoots. So she's like, I must rescue this guy, I must save this guy. Something is going to happen that involves this guy. And this movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes long, but I never once saying, oh my gosh, this movie is too long. I was enjoyed beginning to end, and this was 4 times in the theaters. That this movie pioneered so much going forward that we look at today. You got the 3D revolution where everything was in 3D. Nothing was as good as the 3D as Avatar because they actually filmed it in 3D. You would not have gotten a Planet of the Apes, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the Dawn of Planet of the Apes, without the performance capture of this movie. Avatar is incredible. And although this is a movie that you must have to see in 3D, and this is a movie that it works without the 3D, it works on the Blu-ray, but not as much. When you're in that cinema, when you're in that 3D, when you have that surround sound, you are immersed in the world of Avatar. And this is one of the few worlds where I want to be immersed in. This is one of my this is my favorite cinematic experiences with Avatar. Lord of the Rings was awesome. Avengers was awesome. Seeing my first movie at midnight with Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The movie, not good. It was pathetic. But seeing a movie at midnight for the first time was incredible. And every time I saw Avatar, I loved it. I own it on DVD because it's one of those periods where it's like, I want to buy it on Blu-ray, but I don't have a Blu-ray player. And then ever since we have a Blu-ray player, I'm like, well, I just bought it on DVD. I don't want to double dip. When there's a 4K of Avatar, I am going to buy it day one. I absolutely love this movie. But the problem with Avatar 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 is, are people going to show up? I love Avatar, and I've loved it ever since 2009. Day one, when it first came out, I was in the theater and I was hooked. And I still watch it every year, every other year on DVD, and I wish I was seeing it in the theater, but I still have a lot of fun with Avatar. And I even enjoy the extended edition and the super extended edition where they make this long movie 15 minutes longer and like a half an hour longer, so like 45 minutes total longer. And I still think that adds a lot of cool stuff, and just the fact that they spent all this money to digitally enhance this and capture and do the special effects on the scenes that they didn't have to do the visual effects on. James Cameron is a perfectionist. He did Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens, Titanic. Before Avatar, he waited 12 years between Titanic and Avatar because he was waiting for the technology to catch up. He was pioneering the 3D. He was pioneering the motion capture. He was taking submarines to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. And this sequel film, he's saying this is going to be like The Godfather. You're going to have Jake and Nefertiri and their children. You're going to have the children of the other clans going to experience other places of Pandora. And I want to make like the Godfather thing where you have these generations over the years on this planet and how it changes and how it develops. And James Cameron has made 2 movies that are considered some of the greatest sequels of all time, with Terminator 2 and Aliens 2, where they take the movie in another direction. And this is something that he can definitely do with the Avatar films, where you see that for Terminator, he did the first one, and then he did the second one. Aliens, he comes in on somebody else's project. He's been planning Avatar for years. And I know he spent a lot of time working on the scripts, but he's also doing how can we do this performance capture in the water, how it'll look when we got aquatic Na'vi, when we got Pacific Islander Na'vi, like Australian Na'vi and like Caribbean Na'vi, and these different subgroups of Na'vis, because not all humans are the same, and Earth is huge. Pandora is going to be like that, and I am so excited about this movie. There were like 3 times that I saw a movie in the theater and I'm like, this is going to change everything. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, won 11 Academy Awards. And I'm like, okay, are the superhero movies going to get the award recognition? Are these other genre films going to get the award recognition? And that hasn't happened yet, and that might never happen. Then you get a movie like Avatar in the 3D. It pioneered a range of 3D, and every movie was in 3D, and they re-released movies in 3D. Like Lion King came back, and Beauty and the Beast, and Monsters, Inc., and I all saw those movies again in 3D. And then it's like every big movie is released in 3D now. But also the performance camera capture, where you wouldn't give Tintin, you wouldn't have Planet of the Apes. There's so many movies that you would not have had if you did not have Avatar. And then the Avengers, which we're now just getting the effects of that, where you have the Dark Universe and the DCEU, and everybody needs their connected universe, because even the films people aren't excited for, you will be excited for. But Avatar is one which they, don't get me wrong, I would have loved if they made an Avatar sequel 5 years ago. People would have probably came out in drones if they did it 5 years ago. By the time these movies come out, the first one is going to be 11 years, and then the 5th one is going to come out in 2025. So I'm just saying, that's going to be like 14 years after the first one, and will people care? I know I am. I don't know if anybody else is, but James Cameron's like, I love this movie, and people showed up in drones. You have 2.7 billion people, dollars spent, so that is a lot of money for a movie. And if the quality is up there, and James Cameron has made quality sequels, people will show up. And he also says people are still watching this on Blu-ray. People are still watching. They're going to the Cirque du Soleil shows. They're going to the Disney World. And people will show up. They're bringing back like most of the main cast, including Sigourney Weaver and Stephen Lang. But both those characters died in the first film, and James Cameron's like, it's sci-fi, you can bring people back from the dead for sci-fi. And they already established the lore that when these Na'vi die, they go to the Tree of Souls. But I don't know how they're going to bring Stephen Lang's character in, and I hope they got a reason to bring back Stephen Lang's character, the Colonel. Otherwise, if you don't have a story reason, or you're just like, he was in the first movie and he can make money. Avatar was this huge pop culture phenomenon, and I believe it can be in the future as well. The only problem is, will people show up, and will they come back a second, a third, a fourth time? Will they come up if there is a Star Wars movie in theaters at that time? It has the worldwide appeal that Star Wars doesn't have, but in America, it's kind of come off in the last few years that it's kind of become a joke. Oh, remember Avatar? Yeah, that was it was such like every other movie. But in a world where you have all these sequels, Avatar was so original and it was so mind-blowing at the time. And I feel like if I would have been around in 1977, all my thoughts about Avatar and the future of Avatar are going to be what Star Wars was at that time. And going forward, I wish it would have taken 3 years to make this movie. I wish it would have took 5 years to make this movie. But James Cameron says, I need to make the perfect movie, and in James Cameron, I trust. I could wait another 10 years. If the quality of the movie is there, I will be excited for Avatar 2. I love this movie.